Interesting fact, terrible twos. Between the ages of 1 and 2, your child will continue to develop strong bonds with loved ones while at the same time wanting more independence. This conflicting desires can be frustrating for toddlers as well as their parents. That's the reason people call it terrible twos. Why to understand terrible twos? The terrible twos is a normal stage in child's development in which a toddler can regularly bounce between reliance in adults and newly burgeoning desire for independence. It is a stage that most toddlers will go through in varying degrees. At one moment, the child may cling to you desperately and in the next run away from you in a screaming rage. Understanding the terrible twos can help you not only cope up with these behaviors but find ways to better deal with them without anger or aggression. When does this terrible twos begin? Although parents doesn't usually expect the terrible twos to begin until the child is at least 2, but it can often happen well before. In fact, some children will start before their first birthday with behaviors ranging from frequent mood changes to outright temper tantrums. What should you do to face these behavioral changes? When faced with these behavioral changes, you should always remind yourself that the child isn't doing this with sole aim of defense. Rather, the toddler is trying to express independence without the communication skills. Without an emotional vocabulary to rely on, child can quickly become frustrated and have no other means to express those feelings rather than anger or aggression. When this happens, a parent may suddenly be faced with screaming, biting, kicking, or running away. Responding in kind, such as with anger or yelling, will only help reinforce aggression as an acceptable means of communication. It reinforces and prolongs the behavior rather than helping the child gain the vocabulary they need to better deal with emotions. How parents' self-control helps. Taming the terrible twos starts by taming your own emotions. If faced with a tantrum from your toddler, try to remain calm, even in public. Unlike older children who may use tantrums to challenge authority, a 2-year-old is simply enacting behaviors that they know will get a response. What are the strategies which can help parents? If confronted with a tantrum, there are some tried and true strategies that can help. The first one is start by trying to redirect the child's attention elsewhere, such as an object out of the window, a storybook, or a task that child can help with. On the other hand, do not reward the behavior by giving the child a treat or something that he or she is demanding. If you can't distract the child, ignore the behavior. Child of this age won't recognize this as parental strategy. Instead, it will communicate that this form of behavior will not get the response that they want. You would need to remain steadfast, but over time, behaviors tend to improve if the response is consistent. If you're in public, take the child aside without discussion or fuss and wait until he or she has calmed down. If you behave differently in public than you do in private, your child will sense this. It can become a battle of wills. The next one is, if a child calms down and the behavior improves, don't make a point of recounting the bad behavior or discussing the problem in detail. The child is only 2 after all. Instead, praise the good behavior and not with the gifts but with words and affection.